Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I wanted to talk about some comments I received in my last video. Where is it? So Jesse Liverless, and this guy's been leaving comments on my channel for a while, and he left some really good comments. And so just received this comment from him. It was pretty, I just want to talk about, I want to get into it this video because I feel like I've got some things I need to say. So this is a small part of it. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I appreciate a lot when people leave comments on my videos. So I really do appreciate this. So he said, it's fine to actually quit trading. Trading is not for everyone. Just like alcohol or weed is not for everyone. Take an alcoholic, for example. Is the best thing for him to learn how to drink reasonably, or is it to man up and get sober? Easier than done. Obviously, man up and get sober. If you have a problem with weed or alcohol and you can't use those substances in moderation, or they're making your life worse, you have to man up and stop doing them. A couple beers, after a long work week with some friends, sparking up a J, with some friends after a long week, fine if it doesn't become a problem. But in psychiatry, addiction is defined as when it prevents you, something is an addiction when it prevents you from fulfilling your life commitments. So if a gambling or alcohol or weed gets in the way of you going to work or family functions or paying your bills, it's an addiction, and it needs to be stopped. Obviously, it's super nuanced and that's super high level. And that's not, I'm not a psychiatrist, so, but I just, something I've heard from a psychiatrist. So when they evaluate patients, like when they're evaluating how much of a problem is it, trading hasn't stopped me from doing any of those things. But if I continue to trade the way I traded in this video and the way I traded a couple other times, I will. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, because I think the path I'm on in trading isn't unique or special. This is based on something my mentor has shared with me, and this is based on something I've watched Jason Shapiro say. This guy right here. It's funny, he's actually in my YouTube algorithm. And I think Linda Rashke has said a similar thing, and I think, it's just and I know Paul Tudor Jones actually and Linda Rashke from the Market Wizards books have also said a similar thing. So what is that similar? And this was just one of a few comments kind of echoing the same sentiment, bro, figure it out. This guy left a really supportive comment. Appreciate you, my man. And I consider all these comments to be supportive, by the way. I'm really not trying to call anyone out. I appreciate all comments on my videos. Constructive criticism and feedback is really appreciated. So thank you, everyone who commented and liked the video. Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying how I'm not special and how my journey is not unique. And I just want to address the elephant in the room, which is I've been trading like an absolute maniac in a completely unsustainable way. So last Friday, 2 days ago, March 20th, I entered into a short position, and it was a very oversized short position. I was following my trading plan, and what happened? I got ticked out, I went on tilt, and the short position plummeted. So I missed out on all this downward movement. So I accurately predicted the direction, but because of my stop loss rules, I just got ticked out. Just unlucky. And now that should be fine. That's just trading. This stuff just happens. It makes sense there. This was either a person closing a short position. Could have been a short even trying to shake out other shorts and get a better price, because it went up really far, went down. Doesn't matter why the market does what it does. All that matters is I follow my plan and not go on tilt and do this, because Had I just lost these 2 contracts, it would have been fine. But I added these 2 contracts. And sorry, I got a text, I gotta check. And then if I had not done this, it would have also been fine. So what caused me to add here? And to add here? And to do this? That's what I want to get into. And I want to talk about what I'm gonna do next. Risking way too much. Ultimately, it's the number one issue is emotional control. These are things I say. I say, fuck it. I say, I need to prove something. I say, I will size up. I don't care. Screw it. I am angry. I'm running late for work. I'm not going to get into the psychology and the Freudian and Jungian psychoanalysis of this. I do think about those things and why I do this, but it doesn't matter. Okay, at the end of the day, all that matters is the most important point is that what's stopping me from being a successful trader isn't that I don't have a plan. It's that I take too many bad trades. So how can I not take so many bad trades? The answer is emotional control. It's the beginning and the end of what will determine whether I succeed at trading or not. Viktor Frankl, the guy who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, said that it is the last human freedom to, when something happens, between stimulus and response, that is where the last human freedom lies, which is to decide how you respond to something. So when I get these emotions, let's say, the biggest one is just saying fuck it. And maybe that just comes from, I don't even want to get into where it comes from, but I've thought about it and I think I have an answer. But if when these emotions come up and I say fuck it, or I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I need to prove something, I need to enter this trade, I don't care that I'm going off plan, which is what I did Friday. If I do that, I'm toast. Because I really see this now as like, I'm thinking about being on my deathbed at the end of life and looking back, and I view my ability to control my emotions as essential to have a successful life, not just in trading, but in other areas, relationships, friendships, business, health, exercise. I need to be able to control my emotions, and the best way to do that is what Viktor Frankl said. It's the last human freedom, the ability to pause between stimulus and response and make a choice. So I need to make that choice to pause, not identify with my emotions, and choose non-reactivity. I need to not react to my emotions. That's the biggest thing. But there is something I can do to not get as bad of emotions in the first place, which is what I'm taking a month off, by the way. I'm going to take a month off trading to work on these 2 things, which is, 1, I'm going to backtest an absolute ridiculous amount of data. I'm going to become a price action expert. This next attempt at trading, if I fail, I'm done. I'm quitting. This next attempt at trading, when I load up my account, is my last and final attempt. I will either win and succeed, or I will fail. If I win, great. I don't plan on failing, but I have not yet been able to. If I quit now, it would haunt me. It would bother me for the rest of my life because I wouldn't be able to say I gave it my all. Before I load up my account this next time, though, I will be able to say I gave it my all because of the work I'm going to do. What work am I going to do? I'm going to backtest like crazy. I'm on 24 months worth of market data. 24 months worth of market data to make sure my plan works at all times. And what that will do is it will give me much more confidence that my win rate is what my win rate is, that my average winning size is accurate, that my average losing size is accurate. The average losing size will always be like minus 1.05 or so, or less, because I never risk more than 1 unit. So I'll just be absolutely sure of my numbers. There will be no doubt. And step 2 is, and through that process, I will become a price action expert. Okay, I will know. This is my bar by bar back testing sheet. Okay, so I just want you guys to know this is how I'm going about the back testing. I have the date, the type of trade, whether it's inside, outside, whether it's inside, above, or below the prior week range, the direction of the trade, the risk per trade, the R units won or lost, everything. Okay, I'm going each day, and it's a painstakingly long process to do this, and it's a lot of hard work, and it takes a long time, and that's why I'm taking a month off, because I don't want to rush it. I want to go slow. Okay, I'm doing a lot of work, and then I'm going to answer these questions for both my plans, and I'm going to have good data, and I'm going to have a certain win rate, because right now, based on August 19, 2025 to March 17th, 2026, 7 months of data, my win rate is, it's 51%, or it's more like 52%, but I rounded down. On each winner, I make 2.84 R. On each loser, I lose about minus 1.5 R. That's what it is based on that data. But August 2025 to March 2026 is not enough. So I'm going to go from 7 months of data to 24 months of data. And then that will be statistically significant. I will be able to trust these numbers right here with absolute certainty. I already do pretty much trust them, but I don't trust them enough, frankly. I need to be absolutely certain, because like I said, I need to consider myself a price action expert. I don't consider myself that yet, but after this exercise, I will consider myself a price action expert. I will have the data to be certain. Okay, just in multiple market conditions, up, down, sideways, I will know that my plan works and have confidence in it based on all this data I collect. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, I'll be absolute confident. Then I will pick the risk factor. Okay, so I want to look at this model. My job, after this latest blow up on Friday, and this just tilt episode I've been on this month, I'm taking the job of risk manager hauntingly serious. I don't care about the upside anymore. I mean, I do, but I really don't. I only care about what losses mean for me. I don't care. I have to be able to live. I have to be able to live with my losses. Okay, so I wrote that right here. I have to look at the downside potential. Okay, I have to live with the downside potential. Where do I say it? Something. Oh, right here. So, can I stay in the game long enough to let the math work? With a 2% or with a 50% win rate, there is a 2% probability that I will lose 11 trades in a row every 100 trades. Now, per my plan, I'll probably take like about just over 100 trades a year. So it's a pretty low percent chance that I'll lose 11 in a row. But that chance exists. And as a trader, as a risk manager, that is what I'm going to focus on. I don't care about the odds of it going to $1 million anymore. I just don't. All I care about is what is the percent chance that I could lose. And if it's a non-zero chance, I'm considering it. I can never risk a percentage of my account on each trade that if I lose 11 trades in a row, I'll blow up, because it will happen. I will be too emotionally distressed trading, and I will not be able to execute my plan if I'm risking too much on an account per trade. So I have this model, And this is with my current win rate and current loss outcome, 50%, 51. In fact, for this study, let's go even lower than what I have. We'll make it 0.48%. We'll go from 2.83, we'll go down to like 2.6. So this is like worse than what I have considerably. We'll even go down to 0.45, okay? So this is 7-8% lower of a win rate that I think I'll have, about 0.2 of a lower average winner than I think I'll have. And this is starting with my account with $10,000 and a starting bet of, I'm not gonna do 5% of my account per trade. I will probably go with 4% of my account per trade, maybe 3. And this is after 60 trades, which is on average, if I average about 9.5 trades a month, it'd be a little bit under, it'd be like about 110 trades a year. So this is roughly half a year of trading with a 4% risk factor, which is basically how my sizing of my trade will change with each trade. If I win, my risk goes up. If I lose, my risk goes down. So I don't care about these up, okay? These are all possible outcomes. What I'm focused on is how much it can go down. So that one, okay, I accidentally tapped past it, but I think that went down to 8,000. And could I be comfortable with losing $8,000 or $2,000? Probably. That's 20% of my account. Okay, that went down to $6,000. I'm not comfortable with that. So we're going right now to a 3% risk factor because I am not comfortable losing $4,000. And that is a probability. That is a distinct probability. And you know what's cool though is I don't actually need to do this by hand. I can model this with Claude, which is what I was actually doing yesterday. And I captured a lot of those screenshots here. I would say, because I took some experimenting to get it to do it right, but I would say, okay, I never want to lose 40% of my account, okay? That would be way too painful. But if it was under a 10% chance of that happening over 1,000 trades, is a risk I am willing to take. Makes sense. So it said the max safe risk factor I should use is 3%, because that means there is a 1.3% chance of 1,000 trades, which remember, I only take 110 trades a year. So that means over a 9-year period, if I take 110 trades a year, 1,000 trades would be like 9 years. There is a 1.3% chance that I will have a 46% drawdown. Frankly, if I'm on Wall Street, this is an unacceptable risk factor. This is too high. Like, if you lose 46% of your client's money, if you lose 5 or 10%, maybe, I think you can't manage money. But this is a low enough probability to me that this is a risk I'm willing to take, because the odds are it won't happen. So see my account, it's growing pretty damn good still in most outcomes. And this, remember, this is with a worse win rate and loss. This is with a 7-8% lower win rate. That's very significant. And also a 2.2 shaved off my average winner. So again, these numbers are going to be a lot more accurate after I do my back testing. My back testing is going to take me at least a week probably. It is going to be a lot of work to back test 2 years of data with the rigor and detail I'm going to get into. But after I do that, I will be that's multiple sideways markets, multiple bull markets, 3 bear markets. I'm confident for sure. Ooh, I'm absolutely confident. Excuse me. Look at this one. Imagine I'm trading for 6 months and I'm up, I'm down. Imagine how I'll feel right here. I'm 4 months in, my account is down 10% or 20%. This is a realistic probability. Yes, on most of these outcomes, this doesn't happen, but this is the outcome I need to prepare for. It doesn't matter if I get 100 of these outcomes that look, it goes up, it only goes up. It doesn't matter, because I know in my mind, I'm like so traumatized from my trading performance that I'm like, the one bad outcome is going to be what happens to me. That's how I have to approach this as a risk manager, because I only have to look at the downside potential. And frankly, I could live with this, because I know if I trade this system long enough, it's like I say right here, can I stay in the game long enough to let the math work? You know, if I don't know if that makes sense. It does make sense. To the smart traders, this will make sense. To the experienced traders, this will make sense. So I have to use the right risk factor, okay, that accounts for risk of ruin and realistic drawdown probabilities. I can't be, so let's go to my bar by bar back testing on the data I've completed so far. A risk factor of 4%, we decided we're not going to do this. 3%. Starting with $10,000 and a risk of $300 per trade. What does this do? Let's look at the account change for the winners and the account change for the losers. On winners, with a 3% risk rate, 13.8%, 10% on a winner, 14% on a winner, minus 3% on a loser, minus 2.7% on a loser, minus 2.9% on a loser, minus 3% on a loser. Okay, so 4 losing trades in a row. How much does my account go down? 14,000 minus this divided by this. That's an 11% drawdown. Am I comfortable? Can I mentally tolerate an 11% drawdown? I'm not asking. That's a question for me to ask myself. That's what I'm going to figure out over this next month. When I have my final data, you know, this final win rate, then I'm gonna pick the appropriate risk factor. Because here's the thing about the risk factor, okay? The only way it works, the only way a high risk factor works, I'm talking 20%. The quant that I learned this from, he uses a risk factor of 20%, but he has a win rate of 0.67, 67%. With a high win rate, this risk factor works, okay? But I was trying to, this is where I'm like ignorant and it's total hubris, total overconfidence, just stupidity, ignorance. I was trying to apply his 20% risk factor, because that's what he was using, to my win rate. And that's just so ignorant. I didn't know, okay? I'm not a quant. I'm not as smart as this guy. You know, I'm reasonably intelligent, but I'm pretty ignorant about a lot of stuff in trading. And unfortunately, I've just learned through scars and fuck ups. And I've been lucky enough, I guess, and smart enough, I guess, that I haven't like bet all my money away. You know, I've lost a lot of money, but it's probably all the money I've lost is like 35 or 40% of my money over a 4-year period. Okay, I feel like over an 8-year period, really. But over a 4-year period since I really got into trading. Like, I've been trying my ass off to be successful at trading since January 22. Oh, fuck. Oh, dude. I think my lemon water is growing some mold. That is so disgusting. I really hope that's not mold. Oh, God. I'm gonna vomit if that's mold. I'm not gonna look at that. I gotta finish this video. I'm way distracted now from that. It's my 5-year anniversary from when I started dating my wife. So today we're gonna go get brunch, and we're gonna go hike, and we're gonna go see a movie. We're gonna go see that new Ryan Gosling sci-fi movie, Project Hail Mary. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Just, you know, my life is good. Like, outside trading, well, it's actually not. Like, with my work, my job, it's pretty stressful. My real job. But I don't want to talk about that right now. I just want to talk about trading, because trading, I feel like, is my way out. It's my way to have a life where I can for sure provide for myself and not have to rely on anyone else and have financial independence. And that's what I really need and want, and I'm doing this for, so I can provide for myself and my family and just have security, dude. Like, the economy sucks right now. For unemployment in America, for college educated, recent college grads, it's like 10%, maybe even 15. Unemployment is high, you know. There's so many factors. I mean, so many factors, and I'm not gonna get into those factors. I'm not an economist channel, but all I'll say is it's like Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio, he talks about the changing world order. All empires rise and fall, you know. Persians, then the Greeks, then the Romans, Byzantium, Ottomans, British, America, you know. It's just a natural cycle. I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell. Historians will study this one day, as long as it's not World War III and we blow up the world. But I don't want to get political or anything like that. You know, I'm just a trader, and thinking about the news and stuff stresses me out. So I'm not really going to get into that. And there's nothing I can do anyway. So I guess I just have to think about it and stuff, and be aware. But at the end of the day, I just got to do the best I can. Sorry, I'm like getting kind of deep, and it makes me pretty sad about my mess up, about my mistake from going on tilt. And that's why I'm so serious about this risk management stuff now, because I'm with this bar by bar back testing, I'm going through these losses and I'm thinking like, can I stomach this loss? And what percent of my account am I comfortable losing each trade that will allow me to trade the way I need to trade? So going back to this mental game stuff, the most important thing is emotional control, exercising that last human freedom, being able to pause and say, do I want to take this trade, yes or no? Am I being emotional? Is like, all that should matter is, am I executing my plan? Am I executing my process with the right risk size, with the right entry points? That's my job. It's not to win. Okay, my job is to follow my process. It's to have emotional control enough to follow my process. It's a lot easier to have emotional control when you're not risking a ridiculous amount of your account each trade, okay? I was risking way too much of my account each trade. Way too much, okay? Even 3% is a lot. On Wall Street, they say, 1 to 2% of your account per trade. That's what pretty much everyone in the Market Wizards book says, risk 1 to 2% of your account each trade. So even 3% is pretty damn high. If I lose 5% on a trade, it could take me a month. If I double, for example, if I double 5%, 3%, and almost double and go up to 5%, if I lose, it could take me a month to get that back. Looking at this bar by bar back testing, let's see what changes if I go to 0.2. So that four losers, which is, I was using a risk factor of 0.2. 4 losers would be a 32% drawdown. I don't know why the fuck I thought I would be able to trade that realistically. It's because looking at this model, 20%, it's like, if I just trade it long enough, I'm going to be a millionaire in 6 months. Look, $90 million after 6 months. This is what I was looking at. Because yeah, if I follow this long enough, I'll be a millionaire, right? I'll make $100,000 by Christmas. I was calculating, earlier this year, I'm like, there's a 60% chance I have make my first 100K by Christmas. And it's fucking dumb, because what that model doesn't account for is the reality of what a 30% drawdown does to my mentality. I did not consider that. I was not being a good risk manager. Now I am. Now I'm going to TLDR. I'm going to become a price action expert. I'm going to have an absolute certainty about my win rate since April of 2024 until now. 24 months of data, because I'm skipping a part in the middle, so it's not going to be 3 years. It's going to be 24 months of data. So I'll be certain about my win rate, and then based on that win rate, after all this back testing, I will be able to choose an appropriate risk factor. Because that quant, he had a win rate of 0.67, okay? And say I think his was like a 1-to-1 payout, okay? If you have a 0.67 win rate, the math actually works for this model. That's the thing. That's what I was being ignorant about, okay? Because guess what? you win 67% of the time. So even if you go on a bad run, your account, no matter what, it's gonna go up over time. You're gonna go on these streaks, because when you go on these streaks and you're increasing the amount of risk on your account each time, it works. The math works. This guy's a quant. He went to school for this and traded on Wall Street. I didn't. I'm just an engineer, who did not specialize in that. Let's take the data from 6 months to 9 months with a 67% win rate and 1-to-1 payout. Was that 9 months? I think that was 9 months. Yeah. So this works. Like, this actually works. A 1-to-1 payout with this risk management system, I would be rich, and I would feel comfortable risking 20% of my account each trade with a 67% win rate, because the probabilities, you just know it's going to work out. It's a lot easier to take that trade. Your account just works a lot better, and we can do this modeling here with Claude. It can tell me. I haven't done it because I don't have a 67% win rate. There's no point. I need to establish my win rate. So I'm taking a month off. We can start wrapping this video up. I've come clean about a lot in this video. I feel like I've done a pretty decent job at explaining my situation, and I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate all the advice over the 2+ years I've run this channel. This is the most important part of my trading journey, because what's going to happen is this is going to be my last attempt at trading. If I blow up again, if I do this tilt, I'm out. I'm done. I will accept it's not for me. I'm a hardworking guy. I'm smart. I'll be fine. I'll put all my energy into my family business, and I'll make it work, and I'll be fine. I won't trade anymore. Or I will learn the lessons from my failures. I will become a price action expert through this back testing, and I will risk an amount in my account. I will risk a amount each trade that, with high probabilities, a 99% chance of success over 1,000 trades, which would be much higher percentage chance of winning over, the next 300 trades the next 3 years. But I'm actually considering the things I'm supposed to consider now. I'm considering, how does it feel? I'm considering the emotional control aspect, and I'm considering, I don't control the emotions, but I do control how I respond to the emotions. I can't control what emotions come up, but I can control how I respond. It's the last human freedom, like Viktor Frankl said. And also, but there is actually one caveat to that, which is I can sort of control how bad the emotions are, because the amount I was risking, I was not able to walk away. I had to keep watching. I had to watch every tick, and it messes you up, and it makes you unable to trade properly. You're not able to. So I have to trade an amount that I can place my trade and walk away, and that's how I'll be successful. So I probably won't make a video for a while because I have a lot of backtesting work to do. Maybe I'll live stream some of that. Probably not. I really don't like recording my backtesting because I've tried to do that with some live streams and it just hasn't been great. Maybe I'll try again, and then I'll figure out my risk factor, and then I'll load up my account for the last time, and I'll execute. And it's do or die. I'll either follow it, accepting that I'll have to stay in this game for years to let the math work out to grow my account to where I want it to be, or I'll have to accept that it's not meant to be.